What is going on, my beautiful people? I have something really special for you. We have finally released our Instagram DM profits. That is right. Listen, I'm super excited because this has been something that I've been leveraging in my business for the last 6 to 7 months, and I am finally comfortable with releasing it to the world. These strategies that I've got in this Instagram DM profits course is something that I've been working with my one-on-one clients on to help them grow and monetize their businesses. But now it is time to release it into the world and make it more accessible for more people. And so if you want to find out more ways to monetize your audience, doesn't matter the following, doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter how creative the content you got, but if you want to find a way to extract profit out of your followers, visit our website at www.instadmprofits.com. instadmprofits.com for more information. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Go get it. Go to the website. Go check it out, baby. What is going on, my beautiful people? Welcome to yet again another episode of the Pivot Mindset Podcast. You know, my name is Justin. I'm your host, and let's get into this. First, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. First, I want to say thank you for everyone who continue to show up and listen to this podcast. Thank you for being consistent. Thank you for the shares. The goal with this podcast is just continue to bless people, to continue to show up. Because I said I would, but also because I believe that you are listening on the other side of this. And I'm hoping that this podcast is giving you something to be encouraged by, something to motivate you, something to inspire you. I believe heavily in what it is to be an inspiration to people. And I know so many people that are inspiration to me, and the least that I could do is give that back. But as mentioned, my name is Justin. I'm your host, and we believe here that life is all about the pivots. Life is literally all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to become successful. Success is your choice, and you get the decision to make if you're going to be successful or not. And in this episode, I want to talk about change your mind, change your life. And I'm gonna just go off on this episode, right? I'm gonna just talk with you. We're just gonna hang out. And I was thinking of what did I wanted to share? What could be valuable information? And I'm always trying to be I'm trying to come from a perspective of what can help people and what can give the most value to people and what has come to give me the most value. What kind of breakthroughs have I had in my life and why have those breakthroughs happened for me? And I couldn't do nothing but think about the topic, change your mind, change your life. If you can find a way to change your mind, you inevitably will find a way to change your life. This podcast is all around mindset. And I have come to know mindset to be an extremely important equation in the formula of you creating the true essence in the life that you want to create. And if you can make the decision to change your mind, if you can make the mental pivots and change your mind, family, you could literally change your entire life. Quick story, man. I've for the most of my life, grew up in the church. And I wouldn't say most of my life. About 15, 16 years old, I became a Christian. And at that time, what I learned initially about being a Christian was that God would handle it all, right? What I learned was that it was important to pray. It was important to read God's word. It was important to worship. It was important to live a holy life as best you could. And those were the most important things. And it was important to serve other people. It was important to love other people and all those kind of things. But what I found out was that I was missing something that wasn't necessarily that outwardly spoken when it came to being a Christian. And, if you're a Christian or not, just listen up here, because I think regardless, there's going to be some value that maybe you can depict and derive from it. But I realized very early, man, that those things, though that they were important, those things weren't allowing me and helping me to get through the hell that I was facing every single day. Those things made sure that I got to heaven at the end of my life, right? The physical life that I would exist in. But those things in and of themselves did not give me what I needed to excel in this thing that we call life. And what I realized was that my whole journey was predicated, when it comes to me being a Christian, my whole journey was predicated on believing a God to do everything for me, believing someone outside of me to go ahead of me and do everything for me. And that all I had to do was believe, and then he would do everything, right? If I wanted to, whatever my goals were, whatever my dreams were, whatever my aspirations were, all I had to do was believe enough and have enough faith. And if I had enough belief and enough faith, I could accomplish it. Like that thing could become a reality. And that was my thought, guys. Like that was my belief. And this may be some of your beliefs. Like you may, in this episode, be checking your beliefs. But for me, what I realized was that as the Bible talks about, as a man thinketh, and I believe I talked about this very early, one of the episodes, probably like episode 2, 3, somewhere around there. Listen to all the episodes and you'll find it, I promise. But the scripture, the Bible scripture, but also the book, as a man thinketh, so is he. And there is so much power in thinking, in the thought life of the believer. There's so much power in the thought life of anybody. And for me, growing up Christian, and I'm still Christian, but having this belief that I was like committed to this kind of genie in a bottle kind of God, and as long as I believed, as long as I had faith that he would accomplish everything for me, instead of realizing some very important principles. And I really want to talk about that today, because some of you might be in the place in your life where you're struggling. Like you're struggling with what to do next in your life. Let's be real. Like you may have not been dealt the hand, or not just dealt the hand, but these might have been the last couple of years have been very challenging to you. You may have not always been able to accomplish everything you set out to accomplish. Truly, you might be somebody who has failed significantly. Like you may have had some public failures. You may have had failures that impacted years of your life. You may have failures that impacted people that you love the most. And what I've realized, the older and older that I get, and I see people have this ability to be good in spurts, but they don't have the ability to be consistent enough to be good and dominant over a long period of time. I'm gonna repeat that again. I've seen and known people to be good in spurts. I've seen people come out the gate in life very fast. I've seen people graduate college and and go very fast. I've seen people get married and go very fast. I've seen people start a business and that business rise extremely fast. I've seen people start a podcast and that podcast grows extremely fast. And what happens is that is so common, that there are so many people out there that can be good in spurts. And I'm gonna connect these two, I promise. But there are so many people that can be good in spurts, but they do not have the wherewithal to be consistent over a long period of time. And what it comes down to is a mindset issue. When I family started to look at all the things, and still the things that I struggle with in life, and that I have struggled with, and that I have overcome, and all that kind of stuff, when I peel back the onion on all that stuff, 9 times out of 10, it all comes down to some kind of mindset framing that is not or no longer serving me today. And when I come down to think about the kind of life that I have right now, 9 times out of 10, the kind of life that I have right now is based on a set of beliefs that I currently have. And those set of beliefs are derived from the mindset that I have. Some of you might have a mindset, and I was like this, that you had to work extremely hard for money. And so any way that looked easy to make money, you thought was a scam, or you thought it wasn't appropriate, or you thought that, it would all come falling or crashing down one day. That's a mindset. Some of you may have a mindset that says you won't actually be successful because of the color of your skin, or that you're going to have a much harder life because of the color of your skin, or that you may be disadvantaged, or that you may be you may not have opportunities present themselves to you because of the color of your skin, or your race, or your sex, or your class, or your geography, or how tall you are, or how short you are, or how the straightness of your teeth, or the deepness of your voice, right? Like, we have so many things in our minds that hold us back, literally, from taking the life that is already ours. And what I realized in my life, man, was that God has a life that's designed for each and every one of us. And you can make the decision. It's a choice. It's all in the mind. You can make the decision to go out and live the best life and continuing to stay on the edge of your comfort zone and continuing to live boldly and be all that God has called you to be, and continue to course correct and personal develop and determine the version of you that you have to be to be able to attract that life that you want. You can make that decision. And I've realized how important that is in my life, guys. Like, if you can change your mindset, it's literally comes down to changing your mindset. You can change your life. If you don't have the life that you want, change your mindset around the life. Change your mindset around how you show up at work. Change the mindset around how long you commit to things, how you show up for yourself, how you're consistent with things, right? And so success all starts with the mind. And once I learned that that was the incubator for everything that I want in life, I realized how important it was to control the mind, and how the Bible talks about how important it is to hold your thoughts captive. Our thoughts, if we allow them to, will have a mind of their own. Often, our thoughts are not actually ours. Typically, most of us, a great percentage of our thoughts come from things that are not even relevant, aren't even relevant to us, right? If you open up your phone right now and you scroll on social media, you're going to see someone's post, and that post is going to give you a thought. You wouldn't have gotten that thought unless that thought was reactive to something that was in your face, right? You're going to turn on your TV and you can flip the news and you're going to watch something that'll give you a thought. You might drive down the street and see a billboard, or you might see a person on the side, or you might see a car, or you're going to, your thoughts are reactive to the stimuli that's happening in the world. And so your thoughts can be positive, right, or negative. And equally, your thoughts can be taxing on your purpose, or it can be a ascension to your purpose. Like your thoughts can be the thing that allows you to climb and become the best version of yourself, or your thoughts can equally be literally the thing that tears down every single thing that you've wanted to accomplish in your life. Your thoughts can do all of this stuff. You can have two people that came up and were brought up the same way. They've experienced the same things. They ate the same kind of foods. They lived in the same house. They made the same amount of money. They went to the same school. They drove the same cars. They had the same parents. You can have siblings, literally twins, grow up in the same environment and have a completely different outlook on life. How? Because of their mindsets are different. Because how they perceive stimuli, how they perceive data changes how it's filtered and what actions they take as a result. And so we have to be able to put guards and barriers and treat our minds as the most precious real estate that's ever existed on the face of this planet. The 8 inches between your ears is the most prime, expensive, and fragile real estate that will ever exist on the face of this planet. Doesn't matter where you live, no matter what location you are, the brain is the most precious real estate, the most valuable real estate, and it is your only piece of real estate that no one can take from you. It's the thing that you can guard without limit. And so if you can change your mindset, you can change your life. I don't like this podcast isn't just called the Pivot Mindset Podcast because didn't have a better title to call it, but because truly, if you can learn how to pivot your mindset, you can learn how to pivot your entire life. If you can learn how to pivot your mindset, pivot your thought life, pivot your beliefs, pivot the way in which you analyze information and stimuli, you could literally pivot and change your entire life. It's all about making the pivots. It's all about making the adjustments. It's all about how you think and the patterns in which you use to make decisions and how you think about yourself, your self-image, your self-worth, the negative self-talk, all those things, the self-sabotage, all those things that bring up and support a structure and a construct that literally can take down and build and tear apart every single thing that you've worked hard for, all happens in this incubator called the mind. And so your mind can be used for phenomenal things. We've been able to send people on the moon with our minds. We've been able to find a way to fly airplanes. We've been able to find a way to solve some of the most challenging health viruses and risk that poses the human race. We've been able to find ways to build some amazing structures. We've created electricity. We found a way to communicate with animals. We've done so many things with our minds. Our minds are our most powerful tool that we've got at our disposal. And here's the thing about it, is that your mind has the capacity as anybody else's mind. And so your mind can be your biggest weapon. And so in this episode, I want to really give you some encouragement on what it is to make sure that your mind is the thing that you're continually keeping in check, that your mind stays locked in on what you want to accomplish, and that every single day that you realize that your mind is a thing that is always at war and always up for ransom by the devil and by the world and by everyone's standards. Your mind is up for ransom. And there's things out there that's willing to spend hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to get connected to your mind. There's advertisers out there that want to get you thinking less about yourself so you can buy their product. There's marketers out there that want you to think less about your business so you could, fork up a bunch of money and actually not work and find a program that actually works for you. There's tons of people out there that want you to think that your stuff isn't good so you can take advantage of their stuff. And if I can empower you today, it would be that you have the ability to change your mind. That changing your mind starts with changing the way in which you frame up things in your life, the way in which you explain and give labels to things that's happening to you, right? Like when I think of people who are 10 times more successful than I am, that make 10 times more money than I am, truthfully, most of the people that I know that make way more money than I do, they're not 10 times smarter or 100 times smarter or a million times. They're not that much smarter than I am. That is not what the difference is. Often the people that I know that are 10 times whatever or significantly more successful in my standard of measure of success is that these are people who have a good frame and they keep in check the things that are holding them back. And they have courage to take the next steps in their life. And they don't let other people around them hold them back. And other people's opinions stop them from moving forward and creating the kind of life that they want. And they move forward by any means necessary. And they make mistakes, but they course correct. They have successes. They have failures. They have hills. They have valleys. They failed 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, but they kept on going. They picked themselves up, dusted themselves off, and kept marching towards the goal, kept marching towards the prize. But it started with the battlefield in their mind. You have to find a way to change your mind. Pivot your mindset. Change your mind, and you would change your life. Everything you want, I promise you, is on the opposite side of the right mindset. There is this, if you Google it, there is a photo of a horse leashed to a chair. And, big old horse, I'm guessing horses weigh, maybe a couple thousand pounds, right? Or 1,000 pounds, they probably weigh over a ton, right? And so this big old horse chained to a chair. And the only way that horse still thinks that it's under and can't move is because it has a belief that chair that it's attached to is connected and stronger than what it really is. And the reason why that horse believes that, and I want to throw a picture up in here for the people that are on YouTube. And the only reason why that horse believes that is because there probably 9 times out of 10 was a point in the horse's life when it was tied to something that it could not move. Right? It might have been tied to a pole. It might have been tied to a building. It might have been tied to something that it tried to shake its way loose and realized that it couldn't do it. And so now that horse has the mindset that says, anytime I'm tied to something, I can't move it. And so literally, this horse being all powerful, all strength, its ability to run super fast, being controlled by something that weighs probably a couple pounds, right? A 1,000-pound horse being controlled by something that weighs 5 pounds. Why? Because the horse has a mindset that says, anytime I'm attached or tied to something, that means I can't move beyond it. And literally, if that horse decides to change his mind and look again, I want to give you the encouragement that you need to look again. That just because something has happened in your past, and just because you failed at something before, or just because something was a way once before, I want to challenge you to look again. I want to challenge you to pull again. I want to challenge you to push again. I want to challenge you, like some of you may have a door that you're right on the opposite side, and maybe that door seemed like it closed in your face. I want to push you and challenge you to push that door again. Some of you may have opportunities that you seem like you got passed up on and you didn't call the person back. I want you to make that call again. Like, I feel like sometimes we give things around us too much power, as if things can't change and if your situation or circumstance can't change. And so just like the horse tied to a chair that weighs 5 pounds, that can't hold it back at all, sometimes we are like that, held by our mindset and held by life and held by circumstances and held by people and held by financial situations, held by the bank account number, held by how much money is in your retirement, held by so many things, what your credit score is, held by so many things that have nothing to do with you being able to accomplish the very life that you want. If you could change your mindset, you could change your life. What is it? Why haven't you been able to accomplish all that you've wanted to accomplish? Something that I've realized is that one of the hardest things, and I talked about early in the podcast, that it can be so easy to like be good in spurts. But what is very hard to do is be good consistently over a long period of time and show up each and every day. And I remember early on, man, I think I was probably right out of college, or actually this was I think when I was playing high school football or college football, one of these times. And I remember a coach telling me half the job is just showing up. That's half the battle. If you could just show up every single day, if you could find a way to show up for yourself every single day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that most people just shoot themselves in the foot. Most people destroy themselves before they ever had any shot, or the world has ever tried to take any shots at them. Most people disqualify themselves. And so part of winning is just showing up every single day. And it starts with the mindset. Part of the winning is realizing that you're going to have days. I have them all the time, family. Like, we are going to have days when showing up is very hard. We're going to have days where we just want to give up. We're going to have days where we don't feel like pushing. We're going to have days where we don't feel like committing. No cap. It is 10 p.m. right now, and I didn't feel like recording this podcast today. But I was like, man, I got to get the podcast out because I'm getting ready to do a bunch of traveling. I got to make sure that I'm staying on top of my schedule and I don't get thrown off. But I just had to show up. And now that I'm showing up, I've got, this kind of like energy to push something out to the people. But like, half the battle is just showing up. And there's going to be people around you that disqualify themselves because they absolve and find ways and excuses to like not show up and not stay on their promises and not commit to the things they said they would commit to, and leave themselves hanging and burn the trust, not that they have with other people, but burn the trust that they have with themselves. Do you trust you? Do you believe the words that's coming out of your mouth? Forget everybody else. Forget everybody else supporting you. Do you support you? Forget everybody else trusting you. Do you trust you? Change your mindset, and you can actually change your life. And that's all I've got for you in this episode. Remember, family, continue to get this podcast a rating and review. And thank you. And remember, life is all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to become successful. Peace.